And what about the cost? What about the cost that we're paying huge amounts to Europe every day, aren't we?
Oh, forget that. That's minor. Oh, that's tiny. Let's look at the real costs. There are now 8,500 EU quangos in Britain. That is, quangos that we have had to open because the EU wants them. According to the Cabinet Office, who also state that the cost of them in 2007 was 167 billion. That's 12% of our entire economy of 1,330 trillion.
12% of our economy is quangos, European quangos. These are not the old British quangos that we know and love.
Yeah,
you're saying these are like new, foreign accented quangos.
Yeah, these are quangos that have grown up in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 10, 15 years. Add to that, according to the government's Better Regulation Commission, we spend 100 billion a year on EU regulations. Add those two figures together, you get 267 billion wasted on Europe.
I just thought it might be worth explaining exactly what a quango is before we go on.
Right, it's global warming quangos are the...
Well, the word quango means quasi-autonomous,
yes,
non-governmental organisation,
yeah,
doesn't it?
Yeah. So a quango is it's a government body that is funded by the government, but has its own sort of board of directors. And they're all over the place. You know, the area of outstanding natural beauty quango, where people get paid 300 grand a year to stand on cliff walks and have pictures taken of them. It's the most ridiculous one I can think of at the top of my head at the moment. But basically, quangos are a bribery structure. You bribe influential people with 300,000 a year salaries to turn a blind eye to the encroachment of the European Union. They are effectively bought placement in government. They are patronage. And when you think that the total amount spent on benefit the dole, all kinds of benefits, is a tiny fraction of that. But anyway, so we've got 100 billion wasted on EU regulations according to the Better Regulation Commission annual report forward by Tony Blair, so we know that's a government figure. And we've lost at least 40 billion annually with the closing down of companies because of European regulation. The most daft regulation now is that car paint shops have to use water-based paints, children's paints, to repair cars with.
Mm-hmm. So, and cars, when they're new, from the factory, have got water-based paints, quite a few of them.
Yeah. So that means that your average sort of two-man in a garage car repair shop has gone out of business because only the massive ones can make this ridiculous paint stick. You've got to have massive facilities. So every little bump you have in a car now, there's £1,000 to fix because it's only a big company and a huge process that can actually paint your car again. That's the latest one. One of the first regulations got rid of abattoirs, and all our cattle were being shipped to Europe because we weren't allowed to slaughter our own cattle. Of course, none of this ever applied in Europe.
Well, no, we have got some abattoirs here, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, we had to build brand new ones under EU regulation. Oh yeah, and then now we're allowed to slaughter our own cattle again, but now we have big, expensive abattoirs.
And you can't, like, a farmer can't kill one sheep.
It's legal. You're not allowed to.
I think a lot of it's going on, though, you know. I've been offered the odd lamb myself.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
Okay, so all this red tape, more and more and more red tape.
Yeah, and it's generally quangos that enforce EU regulations. We're spending 167 billion on quangos. We're losing 40 billion a year through industries like the Rover Car Company that have closed down. All these little village petrol stations were forced to close down under EU regulations. Hundreds of businesses have gone. And do you know, one of the things that really annoys me is no business has stood up and said, the EU is closing my business. You would think small business would be up in arms.
Well, they blame the government, don't they? They blame the government.